Good.
Hello, Happy New Year! Hello, everybody. This is Fight Club Hubs, and GVN Live is back after our several month-long hiatus. And the hell's going on over there on my stream page? It looks all choppy as shit. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was about to say it's a little jumpy.
It looks like it leveled out now.
Yeah, could have just been the video. Who knows?
Or it
Yeah.
could be
Could
the
be because
buffering.
it's raining.
It looks fine now. Oh, now it just stopped.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, yeah, okay. I wonder what was going on with that. Anyway, hey everybody, Fight Club Hubs, and with me is Celadon, MPI Creates, Mark B. Writing. How is everybody in that order?
I'm doing okay-ish. Trying to still deal with the tooth, but we'll get over that soon.
By the way, Jan, there's something new about you. I'm not quite sure what it is.
Oh, my headphones light up.
Oh, that is so cool. I like that. And yeah, okay. And you got a kitty there. You got a brand new kitty. I like that.
Oh yeah, he likes to just run around. It's fine.
Chase his own tail.
Jan has basically become the VTuber version of a Muppet.
Excellent. I'm glad.
Yep.
Bark, bark, bark!
Work, 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 work. All right. Hey, Spencer. There's Spencer. Hi, Spencer.
Hey,
How are you,
how's it going?
Spencer? Everybody loves Spencers.
I'm good, other than a little sore, but I'm good. I'm good. Been doing physical activities for the first time in years.
Chump.
Hey, shut up. It's hard. Fight me.
Hey. Jumping jacks is pain, especially if you haven't
No,
done it since high school.
I agree that it's hard. I'm saying you're a fucking chump for doing it.
And Mark, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, I'm not dead yet, so that's exciting.
Excellent.
Excellent. So, thanks for coming on the show. How do you feel to be back?
How do I ever feel about anything? You're a fucking
It's
dirtbag, and I
okay.
hate you all. Okay, there you go.
All right, thank you. Okay, thanks for being on the show, Mark.
You.
I missed you too, Mark.
Yeah.
Can't you hear the love in his voice when he talks to us?
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so it's 2020 was kind of ended on a sour note, or not quite.
Well, 2020 didn't end on a sour note. It just mostly was a sour note.
It was a sour note, but 2020. Okay, it did end on a positive note. We had Orange Man kicked out of the White House, so that's probably the big positive of the end of the year. But aside from that, though, I would have to say 2020 in general was a great year for gaming, oddly enough, and for music, if you're a music person. But yeah, there was a lot of good stuff going on in the world of gaming. Speaking of gaming, what has everybody been playing? What have they been up to? Let's get caught up, because it's been about 4 months since we've done this shindig. So, Celadon, we'll start with you.
Pretty much the same as usual, really. A lot of the same stuff. Back into WoW because of the new expansion. It's not terrible. Probably one of the better ones they've had in, well, since Legion, probably, which is a while ago. Played a lot of just odds and ends, trying to clear up a lot of my backlog of stuff that I've got on Steam and PS4 and stuff. So, I was able to get a copy of the new Sakura Wars game, but I cannot play it because the disc drive in my PS4 is dead. So
No,
I have it, I just can't play it yet.
Oh.
So I'll figure out how to make that work at some point soon.
Yeah. About the Sakura Wars game, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, to be truthfully honest. It was too easy, though. I will say that it is probably the easiest of the Sakura games I've played.
I mean, all the Sakura Wars games are dirt easy for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, for tactical RPGs, yeah, they are pretty easy, especially since they don't have like a level up system or a mechanic.
Right.
The only thing that really works is that if you get your trust meter with the girls high enough, then yeah, that gives you combat bonuses. But that's about it. So, anything else besides PS4 problems preventing you from playing Waifu Wars?
No, I mean, for me, it's been a little bit more, a little bit less about playing and a little bit more about the fact that I finally got a job in the games industry because I am now a QA tester for a company. So,
you're not allowed to say which company?
Well, so I work for Lionbridge. I keep wanting to say the other one, but that's a movie company. So I work for a company called Lionbridge Gaming. They've done quite a few games recently. One of which is unfortunately notoriously a problem, but we can get into that some other time.
All right. Hey, Spencer. Hey. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm all right. I have a way less exciting answer.
Oh, I'm sure we can find some way to put a positive spin on it and make it exciting.
I haven't been playing anything.
Excellent.
Well, guess what? That means you probably have more time now than ever to play. No, yes, maybe, all the above.
Yeah, I just haven't really felt like playing anything. Like nothing new has come out that really super grabbed my attention. I've played like a little bit of Fall Guys and GTA with some friends.
How is Fall Guys? Because I watch people play it, and it seems like it could be fun.
If you go into it trying to be competitive and take it real seriously, it is extremely frustrating.
Oh yeah,
because there is 95% of the time that I get eliminated, it is because someone else has done something. Like it's so ragdoll physics and people fall on you or knock you down when they fall down. So if you go into it trying to be hardcore competitive about it, you're gonna have a bad time. If you're just going in, goofing around, having fun with friends, and it's more of the background thing, you'll probably have fun.
Yeah, some of the videos I've seen, and the most enjoyable ones, are the people who are being assholes on purpose. Like, they'll just take their guy, and they'll just have them stand right there in the middle of the tiniest bridge possible, and no one else is allowed to get by, and I just kind of find that hilarious for some reason.
For some reason.
You're not a dick either. It's fine. No, we get it. It's fine. We understand.
I mean, I can be a dick, but...
he says this like we're not all pieces of shit here. It's fine. I understand.
I'm not as big a piece of shit as you can be, though, Mark. Let's be honest here.
Fair.
I mean, I haven't been as big of a piece of shit to you as other people.
This is also fair and true. Somehow you have been one of the nicer people in my life, and I don't know how sad that is.
It's very sad, but we're just going to move past that.
Yeah.
And so I guess we'll just mosey on over to you now, Mark. So what have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Oh, God. I really should have been playing, all of the games that I really wanted to check out from the year 2020. And instead of doing that, I've been mostly playing a bunch of old shit that I never played before.
Nice. Good.
Awesome stuff.
So... I played an hour of Avengers, and that was fine. I played 3 hours of Cyberpunk, and we'll get to that. But I bought 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. I really wanted to play that, and I just haven't. I bought Yakuza Like a Dragon. I really wanted to play that, and I just haven't.
Yep.
No, at this point, it's mostly been 7 Days to Die.
Which is? Tell me about it.
It is a survival game where it is the end of the world and zombies are trying to kill you, and you are trying to let that not happen.
Another zombie survival horror game. Okay, sounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's well,
The
it's
main
more part of the explosion of survival games rather than the horror aspect of it. Like the major.
Mallet.
Yeah, we lock people in the attic. Um, we lock Nate in the attic specifically. So
The right
the
person
basic
to lock
gist
him.
of it, yes. So the basic gist of it, more or less, is that it's. Have you played a survival game like in general, like No Man's Sky, for example, or Rust, or The Forest? Essentially, the idea of it is that they focus in equal parts on the act of attempting to survive from a physical perspective, like, murdering things and stuff like that, as well as on the mundanity of survival, food, clothing, shelter. And there's a certain degree of, like, it's fine if you're coming into that sort of game for the combat aspects of it, but mostly you're probably playing it to either play on a competitive server to be a dick to other people, which fuck you, I'm not going to do, or you're playing it on a PvE server to survive with your friends, which is what I am doing. And that's like basically the main appeal of it, is that we're upgrading our base, we're idiot proofing it against the zombies attempting to attack us, and it's fun. It's about as enjoyable as that sort of thing is if you don't hate survival mechanics. And let's be clear, a lot of people fucking hate survival mechanics, and I totally understand that, because survival mechanics are sometimes the shits. But I'm fine with them to the extent that it allows me the opportunity to play video games with friends.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right. Well, here's what I've been doing, what I've been playing. I have been successfully running bi-weekly Virtual Fighter tournaments. For the past year, I've been doing it with my buddy Corey, Virtual Kazama. He runs the Xbox One every couple of weeks, and then a couple weeks after that, I'll run a PS3 one. And this has been doing rather well. I have practically reestablished my roots with the Virtual Fighter community. I love the VF community and the games, and I love the people that are in the community, because they're a bunch of great people. And I don't know what it is. It's just every now and then it just seems like I accidentally detach myself from the community. Like, I wander away and just forget about it. What the hell are you doing, Jan? You're spazzing out.
Sorry, I was throwing something over to
Okay.
the other side of my room. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the Muppet part going on right there.
Yep.
But
Bark!
Bark, bark, bark.
Vert the Furk. Anyway, I've managed to come back to the VF community. They're always it's a bunch of guys my age now. That's pretty much what it's about, and we're all all hyped up and excited for the new esports version of Virtual Fighter that's coming out, which we're just hoping is at least a updated rollback netcoded version of Virtual Fighter 5 Final Showdown, possibly coming to Steam. That's the least we're all hoping for. Aside from that, I've actually delved a lot of time into some games last year. I actually managed to beat a grand total of at least 7 games. Woo!
Wow.
Yeah. Some of them requiring, at least 60 hours to beat. Currently, I am trying to finish off Cyberpunk, and we could talk about that, right after this discussion. A mini topic, as we will, before we get onto our main topics of the discussion, because I know the three of us have played it, and I'm sure we all have different opinions about it. So, I'm waiting for Atelier Ryza to come out this week. I mean, it's out now, but I have my collector's edition coming, so I'm looking forward to playing that. So that's why I'm kind of looking to beat Cyberpunk sometime this week, so I don't steal time away from Atelier Ryza 2. So that's pretty much it for me. So let's start off with that Cyberpunk. How about that Cyberpunk? What are your thoughts, Jan? I think between the three of us, Mark, Jan, and myself, I think you have the second most amount of time played in the game between the three of us.
Just about, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on it?
I liked it for what it was. It wasn't. It wasn't complete, which we already know about that. Like, there's obvious reasons why it ended up the way that it was. You know, the guys came out, they said, "Oops, we goofed. We're sorry. We're going to make it better." And so far as I've seen, they're trying their best. I still don't agree with the board's decision to release the PS4 and Xbox One versions. They were obviously not ready at all.
Not ready is like the understatement of the century.
I've seen worse, trust me.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they made the decision that this is the way it needs to go. An accurate representation of the setting. That's not wrong. That's not wrong, Poosh. But I feel like for what it's worth, I enjoy the game. I like the aspect of the open world. I like the aspect of being able to run around, do what I want to do. I like the combat system. It wasn't terrible. It works for what it works for. Smart guns as a category suck ass. Don't ever use them.
That's the tracking bullets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're pretty much relegated, really. Like, honestly, there's only really two ways to play this game. You're either relegated to sniper rifle, shotgun combat, or you're relegated to ridiculously easy melee combat that basically two shots everybody.
Well, you can also do stealth, which is very easy.
I do love me my flaming machete. Machete.
Yeah. But yeah, I was looking forward to the concept of the smart guns and really hoping that they would work well, but the need for you to have not only cyberware to enhance the smart link, but also additional skill in specific types of tech for you to actually be able to 100% accuracy with smart bullets that takes forever. And at that point I was just like, nah, just give me a sniper rifle. I'll just kill everybody at 150 yards. And then I got myself to the point where I could literally fry everybody with hacking. I didn't even need to use my guns anymore. Sure, the missions took 3 times as long, but I never took a bullet. I never lost any health, and I didn't have to worry about it because I could literally kill everybody by just hacking them and setting their brains on fire. Like, fuck it, whatever. I don't need to worry about it.
I've just gone the way of the gun. I actually have this Magnum right now. Its damage output is higher than any gun I have right now. It's currently at 850 damage. I one-shot everything with a headshot.
I mean, yeah,
I just run up to someone.
I've got a sniper rifle that does 8 times that damage. So.
Oh yeah, so it's a lot of fun to just
in
a gunfight, just like with four bullets, reload.
Oh yeah,
nobody else to shoot. But I actually feel a very certain way about it. Like, I actually really enjoy the game a lot. I was very wary. I kind of got the game like maybe a week after everybody else did. And that's when I was hearing like all the concerns about how horrible the game was, and it was mostly because of the Xbox and the PS4 ports, but like people were also complaining about how glitchy the game was, and to be truthfully honest, I think the glitches enhance the gameplay experience. There's nothing more.
Yeah. There's that. Have you seen the one fucking video where the guy gets out of the car sideways?
Yes.
I like the glitches that I encounter.
Yeah, hola, boom!
I like the ones where I'm driving the road and I'll just see a car that's parked next to me. Half the car is submerged into the cement. I'll go out and I'll just check it out, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, the thing will just rocket to the sky. And it just comes down, explodes. People can't drive in that game. It's great. Like, if there's a red light and somebody just keeps driving, the collision detection is just so off the wall bonkers when it comes to vehicular combat. It's just It's just
the
mwah.
the two things that I think were my favorite so far that I've seen, are the random bodies that just spawn. Like they literally just spawn like 50 feet in the air and then just fling themselves to their death for no reason. I've had that happen to both I think 3 random people and 2 cars. And then I think my absolute favorite was the one where the guy was in the car, drove up to a person, clipped him with the front left, like the driver's side front end of the car, and it RKO'd the guy that was outside of the car, and it literally like just did this flip and RKO'd the person and killed him.
I was
Just a random pedestrian, just fucking whoop, dead.
I came out of the first club that you go to in the game, and tried to get in my car, and then I realized that there's some guy who was literally merged with my car. Like, he was inside the hood of my car, and I'm like, well, shit. So I drive, I try to back up, I end up running him over, and the cops are after me.
Oh, right. I have a clip that I've got from my first game session of it where, right at the very beginning, when you're going to the very first mission with Jackie, there's a part where after you get the girl off to trauma team, you turn around and he's standing there, but instead of holding his gun, he's just got his hand up, like in a gun formation. He's got a 4Kids gun, right? So he's just got his finger out, but it's a 4Kids gun, right? And he's like, oh, I guess we gotta go. And so he puts his hand down, like he's putting his gun in his hip. And then he turns around and he starts walking towards, like, the room. But instead, he walks into one locker, through 3 of them, and then out another one. And the doors just freak the fuck out as he's walking through it. I lost it so hard, I actually had to pause the game because I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, there's just some things about the game that are just so incomplete that you just can't help but laugh at it. Like, I love how bad the AI in this game is. Like, let's just say you accidentally bump into somebody while running down the street. Next thing you know, there's 20 people in the area. They're all running and ducking for cover because they think you're assaulting them. And I just find that hilarious. Or I actually just finished the Brat on the Beat mission where I ended up doing the boxing match with the champion. I managed to sort of cheese my way through it. For the first half of the fight, he got clipped and stuck at the edge of the ring. So I was able to bounce in and out, dodge his attacks just by punching him. And he just wasn't moving at all. It's just like it worked for half the match. And then it's like, oh, now he's coming at me.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying it. So, however, there are definitely some negatives to the game besides from the glitches. Some of the issues I really don't like is the fact that for a huge open world, why is it that I can find more to do in some of the older Grand Theft Auto games than I can in here? There isn't nearly as much accessibility to, like, the world as you would think. I mean, how many stores can you can go into this game? There's places where you can sell your guns, you can get your ammo, your clothing, and you can go into sex stores. That's it. There's nothing else you can go to. There's like maybe 2 or 3 bars that you can go to, but those are only for quest missions. So there's definitely that right there that I have to say I have issue with. I mean, for fuck's sake, I understand that, like, Grand Theft Auto 3 and 4 were, like, you know, almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago for both games, but they have a hell of a lot of stuff you can do. I mean, shit, you got strip clubs at least you can go to. This game, they show the strip clubs. You can't go in them.
There weren't, well, you're comparing Grand Theft Auto 3 is not fair at all because there is nothing to fucking do as far as shops go in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Well, yeah.
4 is reasonable. San Andreas, to a certain extent, I'll give you that one. The body mechanic in that was very different. But Vice City and 3 were, like, really bare bones in comparison to what this is doing. Also, what about River Docks, dude?
I guess.
Honestly, like...
No, motherfucker. It's not, I guess. It's, yes, that is a thing to do, and you didn't do it. Fuck you! Like, I have my own problems with the game, but I mean, credit where credit is due. I think I think the world is very busy. I think the world is very well occupied, and there's stuff that you can do in it. For me, the complaints are honestly very different from what most people have against it. I don't give a fuck about Johnny Silverhand. I understand he's an important character to the meta universe of Cyberpunk as a thing. And him being played by Keanu Reeves is great. I don't give a single solitary fuck about him as an entity. I like the protagonist fine. I like Jackie fine. But like when the game starts into the Johnny Silverhand stuff, I'm like, I don't fucking care about this. Like this guy does not interest me. He's just like a shitty anarchist, but like not like shitty just like he's an asshole. He's shitty at being an anarchist. But then on top of that, it's just like, I don't know. I went into this expecting like a Mass Effect or a Fallout sort of thing as it relates to being an open world RPG, and it's just it's fine. I was waiting until I got my new computer because I just got a 3080, so like that's going to be like optical sex just like bored into my eye holes. So maybe my opinion will change now that I'm like going to actively put some more effort into it. But full disclosure, I was never a big fan of the Witcher games. I never found them to be particularly compelling. They never brought me back like reasonable times. And I can see the fucking viewer count dropping with me admitting that. But it's just The Witcher never did anything for me. So like CD Projekt Red in general, I wasn't walking into this one expecting it to be like for me in the grand scheme of things. I like the world and the environment. The technical problems don't really bother me so long as we're past the save corruption. But it's just like one of the things that's really frustrating to me is that okay, they put in the ability to have like romanceable characters in the game. And the game, it is the year of our Lord 2020, and the game still has it set up where you have one character one character is available to you based on your sexuality and gender expression. Like, I'm sorry, I fucking thought we did away with that shit by the end of Mass Effect 2.
Right.
Like, it was really frustrating to me that it's like, oh, I'm playing as a cis male character. There is one character available to me. If you're playing as a trans male, one character available to you. Well, the cis or trans doesn't really matter for the purposes of this game, but if you're interested in men and you're a male, you're playing as one. You're getting one character. You're interested as a male. You're interested in males and you're playing as a female. That's one character. You only have one character available based on what your gender expression is and what your sexuality is, and it's come on. Fucking Mass Effect Andromeda I don't count the hookers. They don't actually.
I'm not counting the hookers. I already had 3. In one save file. I've already romanced 3 characters, and I'm about ready to maybe. I'm not sure, but I'll probably do it for shits and giggles. Maybe bang a guy. So
what we're specifically talking about and what you're talking about are different.
Well, or maybe I got lost somewhere in what he's trying to say.
No, there are multiple sex scenes that you can have with multiple partners, but there is only one character that is truly romanceable that you will have towards the end of the actual game.
Right, and your gender, your sexuality matters there.
Yep.
If you choose to bang the guy and the girl, that's fine. That's your prerogative. What I'm saying, like, I'm not bisexual personally. And let me be clear, I'm not arguing that they should not have those options. I'm arguing that they should have more of those fucking options.
Well,
Mass Effect Andromeda has like 20 fucking dateable characters in it that actually matter within the confines of the narrative, not just characters you can stick your dick in.
Okay, well, actually, the characters that you have, there's at least 10 dateable characters for romancing options in the game. And yeah, there's definitely some that are locked for, character play preferences. Like, I just got done doing the storyline missions with Judy, and Judy is a lesbian, so she is not going to accept any advances, from my cis male version of V. So, but I would say I've already romanced Pan Am. With Johnny Silverhand's mission, I romanced Rogue. I have the option to romance Carrie in his quest line. Unfortunately, yeah, like the storyline elements, yeah, there's like only 2 or 3 of those that are actually viable to the main story as well if you've romanced them. So, but I get that. But like, yeah, like you do have the options of romancing like more than one person. It's like they're all side quests.
Yeah, you're not. I'm gonna be honest, dude, and I don't mean this to be in a negative way, so please don't take it as such. You and I are not talking about the same thing.
Okay, then. Well, then just
You
move
are
on at this
talking
point.
about the ability to like fuck different people, which is an option. There are 4 main characters that you can romance, one to each of the potential voice options and body types. Then there are 3 additional characters that you can have side romantic options with: Meredith, Alt, and Rogue. They don't count for any. They don't mean anything within the grand confines of the narrative. They are like a side narrative. They are Scout Harding in the world of Dragon Age. You can romance them and that's great, but it doesn't fucking count for shit. It doesn't mean anything. What I'm talking about is characters that you can start romancing when you encounter them, and then like you actually follow that romantic path through to the end of the game.
That's
The
kind
original
of what
Mass
I was
Effect,
trying to say, but yeah.
yeah, like it's that's what
I
I'm
just
talking
didn't
about.
say it as I didn't say it as well as you did.
Right. It's I don't have a problem with the fact that there's lots of different bodies that you like, warm bodies that you can fuck. But I specifically am like, Mass Effect gives you like Mass Effect Andromeda gives you like 10, 15 characters that you can romance that matter in the confines of the narrative and follow you through to the end of the game. They're not just warm bodies to stick your dick in. They have those too, but like these are actual characters that have long, engaging story trails for you to follow. And for Cyberpunk, it's if I am not representing as a bisexual character, or I am not bisexual myself, I've got a pick.
Fair enough. It's a fair gripe to have with the game, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's just very depressing to me that like it's fucking the year of our Lord 2020, and the only company that's any good at this is fucking BioWare.
That's not wrong.
Okay.
Oh, and Joel, as Joel has expressed to me multiple times, excuse me, the year of our Lord 2021. I have been corrected privately. As Joel has expressed, Stardew Valley is also really good for that.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played enough of Stardew Valley because just after you played 20 Harvest Moons, I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to play Stardew Valley.
I don't want to play Harvest Moon anymore.
Okay, so let's move on to a topic at hand. I'll let Spencer take this one, the helms of this one, because we left him out of this discussion. So let's talk about that little thing that happened at the beginning of the year. A little company called Vicarious Visions. They got acquired by somebody.
Yeah, so they were already working pretty closely with Activision, and it seems like now they are owned by Activision, unless I'm misunderstanding. So if you guys don't know who they are or what they've done, their 2 most recent and what I think most people are going to think of games is the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. So they rebooted the Crash games and then just rebooted Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which were both wonderful remakes, in my opinion. I played both of them and really liked them, and it seems like most people who liked those games to begin with have liked the remakes. But now they're not going to be doing that anymore. They're going to be focusing directly on Blizzard games. So right now, the rumors are a Diablo 2 remake. So it seems like they're still focusing on remaking games, which they're already good at.
Yep.
So that's not the worst thing. I don't love that they're going to be kind of, just doing that though for Blizzard. I liked that we had other games that they were going to be remaking, like Crash and Tony Hawk. But now it seems like they're just going to be stuck with Blizzard. So yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if you guys have opinions on if you think it's good or bad.
Well, they
I
got
played
dissolved.
I played
into
Diablo
Blizzard.
2 and liked it, but playing it with pretty graphics would probably be more fun.
I mean, Diablo 2 is still very playable on Windows 10 right now. So I don't really think it definitely needs a remake at this time. Diablo 1 on the other hand, I've been hearing about remake possibilities of that for the last 5 years, and the fact that there's no remake still surfacing, all we got was a timed event in Diablo 3, which, while it was cool, it only lasted for like a few weeks. So, I mean, if anything, I would love to have a remake of Diablo 1 more than Diablo 2, because I think Diablo 2 is as perfect of a hack and slash as you can get in the franchise. With Vicarious Vision, I really hope they're not regulated to just doing Blizzard remakes, although, to be truthfully honest, they probably would do a hell of a lot better job. Warcraft Reforged.
We're going to talk about that later.
I mean, maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, they're a very talented group of guys in there, and I would have loved to have seen them do their own original game to a franchise or a sequel of some kind. And it sucks now that they kind of just got devoured by the entity known as Activision, and it really depresses me because Activision is generally not that nice to their underling companies.
I mean, I sort of look at it from the opposite perspective. Yeah. I look at it from the opposite perspective. I sort of feel like this is kind of what Vicarious Visions as an entity has kind of been hoping for ever since they were first founded in 1996. Because if you look at everything that they have made, most of what they have made is the shitty ports of games that 5 people bought.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for the Game Boy Advance. Sea-Doo Hydrocross.
Oh my god.
Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, the shittier Spider-Man for PlayStation.
Oh, I'm glad.
Finding Nemo for the Game Boy Advance. Tony Hawk's Underground 2 for the Game Boy Advance. I could keep going here, but you get the point. It's a lot of the output that they have had has largely been stuff that has been ports to less powerful, less desirable. Yes, Vigilante 8 for the Game Boy Color. Yeah.
But why though?
Because God is real and He hates us all.
There you go.
So, but again, at the end of the day, it's I feel like a company like that has been, they have a sort of journeyman status applied to them, where they've been making these sorts of things for years and years and years. And finally they got to a point where, holy shit, they've made something that was really legitimately good. Okay, time to sell out. There's no real money in continuing to be a development house in this day and age, especially not with the reputation that we have. Fuck it, let's just sell to Activision and be on our way. So from that perspective, I can't really blame them. It sucks that they're not going to be around to make any more remakes of things that we might like necessarily, but how many good Tony Hawk games were that they were going to remake? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did anybody want to see a remake of Tony Hawk's Underground 2? I don't.
Here's the thing about that history of the games that they've ported, though. A lot of them had some cutting edge, engines for the Game Boy Advance, though. So, they're people who try to do weird, daring things for the system. So they're not a company to really, just to say, oh, okay, so they did a few things, they did a couple of great things, so they're not really that impressive.
Right, I'm not trying to shit on them or anything.
Yeah.
No.
Don't take it in that perspective. It's just, I think that this is kind of the end state of where they would have wanted to go. Comparatively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they were, as a company, particularly invested in the idea of continuing to be this.
Yeah. I mean,
it's better than getting picked up by Tencent or EA.
Yeah, I mean, they're a company that's been around since the mid '90s, and most companies from the mid '90s don't really last that much longer in this day and age, to be truthfully honest. So them getting absorbed or bought or selling out to Activision, whichever one is actually accurate, I mean, is probably the best way for them to preserve their legacy or their employees at that point, to be truthfully honest.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, a lot of it is just basically this is kind of the season for it. We're at a point now where a lot of these smaller houses or these development houses are starting to get to the point where they're like, whoa, what are we going to compete for? We don't have a lot of gas left in the tank. This is where we're going to end up needing to go. Along the same lines of Vicarious Visions getting picked up by Activision, to sort of share that sort of, well, I guess this is where they're going to end up now. This is probably the best place for them, even though it may not be. Because we had mentioned the Vicarious Visions things, and then like right after that, I was like, oh, and Codemasters got bought out by EA. So this is acquisition season. We're coming in at the end of a year. We're starting a new quarter. Things have changed drastically because of COVID. The people that thought that they'd be in it for the long haul, they're not sticking around much longer.
No.
So a lot of these smaller indie devs and a lot of these smaller, houses are starting to like fold over, and they're like, well, who wants us? And these bigger companies that know that they have the staying power to really bring something forward from these companies are just like, all right, they're sticking their wallets out on the table and saying, okay, well, how much you asking?
Yep.
It's just sort of how it goes. And I think a lot of these other, you're looking at the small houses and you're thinking, okay, that could be a good investment.
Yeah. The last 3 years, the last 3 years, there's been a lot of acquisitions just lately for the entire gaming industry. I mean, you had Microsoft scooping up so many companies back in 2019. A few more companies were getting scooped up back in last year by EA and
Amazon,
and just going left and right. And then now this year we got Codemasters going to EA again, and Activision, getting their fleet up and running after they let Bungie off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems like that a lot. It's either you go indie and you publish them yourself, and maybe you'll get lucky with that hit game, or hey, you're a company that gets the shot of porting over a bunch of these games, and maybe you'll get some kind of deal in the works where you'll either get absorbed, bought, or maybe just continued work to do more ports in the future, or you're going to be that company that's like Sega or Square Enix or EA that's just big enough that they can survive on their own, and maybe they'll bring you under their umbrella.
Right. Well, and the thing I think about Square Enix, though, is Square Enix is really good about not buying the company, but they buy into the property so that they stay with Square Enix. And that's the thing that I think is really interesting about them specifically, is that they might be big enough to be able to sort of wheelhouse what they need to now, but like in a baseline, they're not going to merge those companies under the Square Enix umbrella. They're going to let them keep their individual they're going to let them keep their individuality as a company, but they're going to continue to work with them and contract them to make those games with Square Enix at the helm.
Unless you're IDOS.
But that was a different story. I'm talking more recently, within the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, 5 or 6 years. A lot of that can be attributed to Final Fantasy XIV and its absolute popularity jump and influx of funds from that really helping to stave off what could have very well been, Square Enix being bought up by another company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that they've got, their feet back on the ground and they're level-headed again, they can really kind of look at that. There is to say that there's a possibility that maybe they will buy some companies and merge with some other people at some point. But for right now, it's for them. It's not about mergers and acquisitions. It's about partnerships and understanding.
So let's place our bets. Who's going to be the company that goes to buy Bob's for Toys? Or Toys for Bob. I'm sorry. I butchered that so bad. Speaking of company,
I don't even know what that is.
Toys for Bob is another company that's come out recently, and they've been doing a lot of remakes. They did Crash Bandicoot 4, the Spyro Reignited collection.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so. All right, well, I guess we can move on from this topic of discussion. So, or get some final thoughts on the matter. Let's get your final thoughts on the matter, Spencer.
I mean, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do because I've liked their remakes, and I mean, if they're just gonna continue, that's their whole thing is gonna be remaking games. That's good, but I also don't really know how many Blizzard games can they remake.
Who knows? Maybe they'll actually do a remake of that point and click Warcraft adventure game and actually make it see the light of day. Or who knows? Maybe they'll be the ones to finally release StarCraft Ghost.
They're just gonna like make Warcraft adventures, but they're gonna like ironically make it like Wand of Gamelon because reasons.
That sounds like they would do it in spite.
Yeah, no, totally.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic of conversation. Crap. Sorry, I'm having a little moment here. I got a little sinus pressure going on, so I'm having a few seconds.
Did you stroke out?
Yeah, I think he did. It's okay.
Not stroke out. I'm having a sinus pressure buildup. It's a wonderful thing,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've had several sinus infections. It sucks and I hate it.
Oh no,
yeah,
they're the worst.
Absolutely. So, Mark, what's the next topic of conversation? Can't think.
Well, the next topic that we had discussed that we were going to talk about, I do believe, was the issue with the GameStop stock.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, for those who were not aware of it, apparently a group on Reddit has been sort of like looking at different stocks to sort of like meme with to certain capacities, like to push up into various ways, and decided they were going to do that with the GameStop stock. I haven't 100% read through all of it. I believe MPI has a little bit more of an understanding about what was going on there than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even like right before we started the show, I was looking at it a little bit more, and it seems like there were some hedge funds who were doing something called shorting. So basically,
Yes.
they buy stocks and immediately sell it, and that supposedly drives the price down, so you can buy it for cheaper, and then whenever it goes up, you can sell it for more. Well, there's a subreddit called Wall Street Bets that I guess caught wind of this somehow, or they were watching it and could see, this buying, selling. So they decided, no, we're just going to buy it all, and we're not going to sell it, which is going to just rocket it to the moon. So essentially, they started at like right under about $20 at the start of the month, about $17.25. And before we started, they were at what, $147.98.
Somewhere in that, yeah.
So from the 22nd to now, it's gone up whatever that percentage is. I'm not a math.
Like 690%, something like that. It's something ridiculous.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
And apparently, I don't really know a whole lot about stocks, so I can only tell you so much. But apparently, this is terrible for GameStop as well.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's just a wonderful way to mess with them.
Yeah.
Well,
because
so like here's sort of the thing, right? If you're attempting to short a stock, what that essentially means is that you're speculating on a decline in a stock. You are basically making the assumption this stock is going to bottom out, and eventually you're going to reinvest in it as a long-term investment, which is why it started appearing in a lot of different hedge funds, because a lot of people assumed that it was going to be a short stock. It's essentially most people assumed the bottom was gonna fall out because nobody fucking gave a shit about GameStop. So here's the thing: if somebody does something like this, that fucks your ability to short it because, as you can see, the stock price gets driven up dramatically. Yep. Now you would think, okay, the stock price going up is good for GameStop because they've got more money in the stock, right? No.
Mm-mm.
The problem is that the stock market sort of benefits people from the perspective where they're saying, okay, I have all of this money on a per share basis. This is capital that I can work with to a certain extent. Right. Like that gives them a certain degree of capital that they can attempt to do something with. If you're memeing with this shit, GameStop has no idea what they can actually work with in any capacity because they're assuming that the bottom's going to fall out sooner rather than later. This, you could kind of sort of call this like something equivalent to a pump and dump, which is literally what this sounds like. You pump up a stock really high to get it to an absurdly large amount of money, and then you dump the stock to get whatever you're going to get out of it, and then everybody else who dumps after you maybe makes a profit, probably doesn't. The thing is that pump and dump is generally a concentrated effort by a person. I don't know if you can necessarily call this a pump and dump scheme because A, I don't know that they're necessarily planning on dumping it in the grand scheme of things. And B, I don't think that they've really planned the long term of it. Maybe if there was somebody who started organizing the idea a few weeks or a month ago, that person could be pointed at to do it. But this way, it just seems like they're just being assholes. And here's my thing. I have not made it a secret on any of these shows that I have been associated with that I am a socialist. So for me, good. Fuck you. The stock market is fucking dog shit, and I hate it.
So if we're really gonna kind of look at this just for perspective, what they've basically done is they've taken a stock that was worth at best $20 per share and have driven the price per share up to what is basically the equivalent of companies that are in everybody's everyday life that you may not think would be around the same price per share. So companies like Walt Disney, Walmart, to some capacity, Alibaba, the group holding company that has the weird big shopping site like Wish. That's what they've done with this stock. They've taken GameStop, a company that literally no one really cares about anymore, and has almost driven this company to complete obsolescence. And these people have driven this stock up to be as expensive as, Walmart's fucking stock. It's actually more expensive to get a share of GameStop than it is to get a share of Walmart right now.
Yep,
but like $6. It's like $6, but still, it's more expensive to buy a share of GameStop than it is to buy a share of Walmart right now. Like that's insane.
7 cents more.
I mean, okay, still.
But to give you an idea,
yeah, Walt Disney's like 160 something, so it's like, the fuck.
At any point in time in the last 5 years, if somebody told me GameStop stock would be worth as much as Walmart, I would have asked if you were insane.
Oh yeah.
The thing that's really interesting to me is I don't know how much of this is the people who were initially memeing in the subreddit and how much of this is other stock market types following along with it, seeing that the stock is rising, having no idea what the fuck is going on, and going, that stock's going up, throw my money at it. Yep. Because that fucking happens if a stock starts rising. There will be people who have something in a portfolio and won't want to miss out on it, and they'll be buy. So I'm legitimately wondering how much of this is the people in that subreddit throwing their money at it, and how much is people jumping onto the bandwagon because they see that the stock is rising and want to be a part of it. And
I'm thinking it's 25-75, honestly, because I was just looking at some other news stories from it, and apparently there's on record that Elon Musk is like, oh, I'm buying GameStop stock right now. So
Well, yeah, but fucking Elon Musk is basically the science community's version of an internet troll. Come on.
yeah, no, I get it, but you understand where I'm coming from when I'm saying like if somebody like him is saying, oh, I'm going to buy stock in GameStop all of a sudden, like, huh? Why do you care?
Yeah, but again, he's doing it for the memes. Like Elon Musk is not a good representative of that sort of thing. He is 100% doing it for the memes.
No, I agree.
That's the kind of weird asshole he is. Like for me, it's very much a case where, like, I'm sure he's doing it to a certain extent for the monetary value, but this is also a guy who basically hates owning possessions.
Yeah.
And has been actively saying for years, I'm going to get rid of everything I own and just like live in a fucking barrel, like on the corner of fucking Wall Street or some shit, you know? So like he likes having money, but he doesn't like necessarily having possessions. So I think that there's a certain amount of it that's driven by it's worth money, and a certain amount of it that's like, lol.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw somebody like Jeff Bezos getting involved in it, that's a money play. For Elon, no, that motherfucker is more online than any of us.
Oh yeah.
So Mark, are you trading in stock at all?
No, I have a mutual fund, and President Trump murdered that in its sleep.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking to start a Roth IRA. Now I'm wondering what I should do with it. Maybe I should buy some GameStop stock.
I wouldn't. If you had gotten in it at the very, very beginning, it would have been worth it.
Probably
Doing it now,
would have been worth it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go up dramatically more than the $147 that it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't really know what the long-term plan of both the internet types who ran this up and the people who jumped onto it are, because the stock market is a very volatile entity, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
There's money in keeping your money in the stock if the stock is going to continue to do well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that there's any real guarantee here. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. So that was fun. Final thoughts on, people messing with stock market.
Well, again, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm a fucking socialist, so fuck the stock market. I think it's stupid. It's pretend funny money that I think is bullshit, and fuck capitalism, fuck the stock market, and I don't really care.
Okay, invest in Bitcoin, people.
No.
Melons, thank you, Melons. You just helped out my joke. All right,
don't buy fucking Bitcoin.
That was great. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna move on to the award ceremony. Since we didn't really have a lot of time to really plan for a full award show like we normally do. We're doing a makeshift one. We're doing 4 categories, and we are going to only be presenting our picks per category. So each of us is going to mention something as opposed to there being nominees and blah, 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 blah. So let's go ahead and start the segment. All right, that's enough of that. Said stop.
I fucking hate you so goddamn much right now.
Did somebody just run off laughing in the background?
That was Jan. that fucking Kazoon. Fuck you.
Fuck you too.
You fucking dirtbag piece of shit. Anyway.
Yeah, motherfucker. All right, so here we go. We're going to be doing our makeshift award ceremony right here. We're going to be doing 4 categories. We're going to be doing a game of the year. We're going to be doing biggest surprise of the gaming of the year in gaming. The PewDiePie asshole of the year award does make its return.
Ahem. The 5th annual PewDiePie Award for special achievement in being an asshole.
Like, I would have that entire thing memorized. Jesus Christ. We only made up the name of the topic last year. Like, I'm going to fucking know it word for word.
That's why I wrote it down, motherfucker.
Well, good for you. I'm proud of you, Mark.
Bitch, I came prepared. What have you been fucking doing?
I've been living life.
That's true. I just jerk off into a sock. Anyway.
And of course,
so I believe we agreed that the order that we are going to do these in is
we're gonna go
disappointing.
Yeah, we're gonna do good bad because there's some hilarious comedic.
I thought we were
going to
do bad good.
All right, fine. We'll do bad good. We'll start off with most disappointing.
Yeah, I figured we would go to disappointment, then unexpected, then asshole, then game of the year.
Yep. All right. So we'll start with that, and I guess we'll have a different person start off each segment. With that, let's start off with you, Spencer. What is the most disappointing thing in gaming of 2020 for you?
So I had to think about it a little bit because 2020 just became a blur to me. But I think just like one of the games I was most disappointed by that stood out and I could remember in my mind very quickly was Amnesia Rebirth. So if you guys don't know, I'm a huge horror fan and I love the horror genre of games, films, podcasts, whatever it is. I really like horror. So Amnesia, the Dark Descent, was like one of the big horror games in the horror community that people loved. The second one came out, A Machine for Pigs. It was fine. So Rebirth, I got excited for it. I played it, and it was just like, I don't know what the fuck I just played. I was scared maybe once, and I don't know. It was really a huge letdown, man. I was very upset. I was ready to be terrified again of a video game, and this one fell very short for me.
Okay. Jan, are you still there? You look like you're frozen in place.
She had to step away for a moment. I don't know if she's back yet.
Okay. Damn, I wanted to drive her nuts with my disappointment. So we're gonna go to you, Mark. How's that sound?
That's fine.
Okay.
Honestly, I wasn't super disappointed with anything this year. As I said, spent a decent amount of time playing stuff from a year or 2 years ago in some cases. So, for me, I would probably say if there was any one thing I was really disappointed about, it was probably the Avengers.
The game?
And even then, like, I'm not... So here's the thing. A lot of people are kind of pointing at the Avengers being like, well, it's this, well, it's that, etc., so on. It's a shitty thing. Jim Sterling put it on his like most disappointing or worst games of the year. I feel like the game kind of sort of feels like a Dynasty Warriors sort of experience in its live service mechanics, which is fine-ish. I could kind of take or leave that. I just didn't particularly take anything away from it beyond that. I like the narrative to the extent that I have seen it so far, and I imagine there's probably going to be some interesting narratives once they start getting even more of the characters that they plan to get into it. At this point so far, they've only introduced Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, as a new character, but there's supposedly going to be other characters, including Spider-Man, who I'm looking forward to. But I don't know, it's just kind of there. The plot's fine, but mechanically it just doesn't really have anything that makes me go, wow, I'm playing a video game featuring the Avengers. It's more, wow, I'm playing a video game featuring the Avengers. And it's not bad, it's just aggressively fine, is the simplest way that I can describe it. I don't hate it, because I didn't really hate anything that I played this year. It was just there.
I guess I will go next. Jan has not returned yet, so most disappointing game for me, And I'm like with you, Mark. There wasn't anything that I really disliked about this year, but I would have to say I was truly disappointed with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
Okay.
That was the biggest disappointment for me. My issues stem with a lot of things. So I'm going to go into spoiler territory, but I'm going to try and keep it to a minimum. So my biggest issues have to do with the padding that is throughout the game. You have a game centered on the first segment of the original game, which was about 6 hours in length, and you stretch it out to 40 hours. And in there are definitely some good character development moments and some great, visuals, some good combat. I like the combat system. Let's just put that out there right now. And I love the music. I love the voice acting. And I do love a majority of the characters. What I don't like is the excessive amount of padding that they do, and how they try to wedge in more character development for certain characters that you really don't give two shits about. And then there's elements of the story that I really couldn't stand, like the goddamn MacGuffin ghosts that are padded throughout the game as well, where they serve absolutely no purpose, and then they explain their purpose at literally the last fucking minute of the game. And it just really aggravates me. And then there was the whole end game sequence that really irritated me the most about the game. And look, if you really wanted to create a game where you were trying to say that we're going to change the plot or outcome of the game going forward with parts 2 to 3, well, you didn't have to do it with lazy writing, which is what the MacGuffin ghosts were. And that is probably the part that really irritated me the most about Final Fantasy VII. But overall, I still enjoyed the game. I give it a 7 out of 10. But still, for something that I was extremely looking forward to, I was very, very disappointed with it on its execution. In terms of plot and story pacing and all of that. And it just really drove me nuts. So, hi Jan, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
New meds. It's been a long time since I've been on amoxicillin. My body's like, hey, guess what you get to do?
I'm sorry.
And
So,
you don't get to control it. You just get to poop. Yeah, pretty much.
no, I don't think I'm really digging, especially considering the fact that, these problems were just really very apparent in Final Fantasy VII Remake 1. It might play out better as, Part 2 and Part 3 come out, so that the story feels more coherent and complete, but Part 1 just really left a bitter taste in my mouth overall.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately, everybody's opinions are their own, and I feel like Robert has done a good job of qualifying them. So, I didn't play it, so I don't have any opinion on it. But I feel like it's a reasonable perspective, and even if I were to disagree with him, which again I'm not because I didn't fucking play it, but even if I were to disagree with him, I still feel like his point is reasonably well made.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, Jen, leaves you. You're the last person to tell us about your most disappointing moment or gaming moment in 2020.
So my most disappointing game of just in general. So back at the Yeont beginning of January 2020, before the Corona season hit, Blizzard announced and released a Warcraft 3 Reforged, which was a promised update to the beloved Warcraft 3 real-time strategy game.
Yeah, we looped right around.
And boy, let me tell you what didn't happen. A remake. It was just a relaunch with a couple of specific scenes that were updated specifically for game conventions and stuff. As we meme a lot in my Discord, hashtag no king rules forever, my son. Boy, howdy, let me tell you, there was a lot that they just didn't even touch. A lot of what they did was basically just re-release the existing Warcraft 3 and turned off the BattleNet from the original version. So, let me tell you, they fucked that game so hard in the ass, it basically turned it into a really bad porno. That's really all I have to say about it. It's just that there wasn't anything about what they decided would have been a good idea with that.
So basically, it was that Kermit puppet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was that Kermit puppet.
That I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yup. You're goddamn right you do.
Oh,
I have to admit that a lot of what could have been a really big turning point for Blizzard in terms of remakes and positivity for the company as a whole, since the full on Activision overlord sort of takeover, it wasn't good, and it's a shame that it could have been so much more and it just wasn't. And I feel like honestly, it's really the only game that stuck out in my mind that was actually just like I just fucking can't. So that's pretty much all I got for that. Honestly, it's just I'm sad that it could have been more and it wasn't. Yep, that puppet.
Yep, that's exactly what I.
Yeah.
I hate that I remember that.
He just linked it to us, but I'm just like, thanks, I hate it.
He doesn't have the wedding ring on though, so it's only a 9 out of 10 cosplay.
Ta-da!
Cosplay what?
I mean, it could be worse. Did you hear about the article that somebody posted? I think it was HuffPo, that was basically saying Kermit got a new girlfriend, good for him, and talking about how Miss Piggy is a domestic abuser.
I mean that sounds accurate.
She does karate chop anybody she doesn't agree with it. That's fair. That is fair. She is a very violent person. I've definitely seen him come to work with a green eye more than a few times.
It do be like that sometimes.
Alrighty, thank you, Jan.
Mm-mm.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next category, which is most surprising moment of 2020. So, Spencer went first. How about you, Mark? You can go first this time.
Sure. My most unexpected moment of 2020 was the announcement of the Demon's Souls remake by Blue Point Games.
Oh my god, I know, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, I was absolutely not expecting anybody to remake a Souls game unless it was from Software themselves in some capacity or another.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that we were getting a Demon's Souls remake in general was just like, oh, that came out of nowhere. The fact that it was by Blue Point Games was honestly less surprising with their remakes of Shadow of the Colossus and whatever that third fucking game was that they finished up, and Ico.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically the people that you would tap for that sort of thing.
Oh, Last Guardian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't played the game because I don't have a fucking PS5 because basically COVID ruined everything.
Nobody has a PS5. It's a fucking made-up fucking console.
COVID and scalpers.
Nope. Joel has a PS5, and he did not pay scalper prices for it. I don't know how he got it.
Doesn't exist. Come on.
Motherfucker, who do you think made my art? You think if I knew how to draw this good that I'd be fucking making somebody up to pretend I knew somebody who could draw this good? Fuck you!
Damn!
But anyway, so yeah.
Anyway.
So also, Hubs has met Joel physically at least.
No,
once.
I know. You know I'm kidding. It's fine.
I know, but fuck you anyway.
Wait. Who's Joel? I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm gonna fucking shit right in your stupid Santa beard.
I trimmed. What are you talking about? It's not even close to being a Santa beard.
Anyway, so
Chile.
yes.
Fuck.
But yeah, it's just it's. I haven't had a chance to play it. I know people that have who have said that it's quite good, but or less good depending upon what they were looking for from it. But either way, the fact that we got into a position where it's just so much of it that just came together for me, where it's like From Software, the company that I played games from in 1997 that 10 people bought, has become such a major apparatus in the gaming world at this point that other companies are being hired to remake their games for next generation consoles. Like, what the fuck? And
right?
like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, they were like, "Oh, it's June. Hey, we're going to be releasing this in September." Nani? Or November,
Right.
whatever. So it's just like, games don't stay secret that long either. So it's very much a case of it being a lot of different astonishment in one event, and I was just like, "Oh, all right, this is pretty good. I'm okay with this."
All right.
But yeah, that's what I got for you.
There you go. Hey, Jen, you can go next.
Okay. Well, so I think, like, out of everything that happened this year, there was definitely a lot of good. And one of the biggest unexpected things that I would have to say that came out of 2020 is, well, it's technically twofold. One is the departure of a well-known face in fighting game community, Yoshinori Ono, leaving Capcom. And in doing so, the Capcom Fighting Group, the team that functionally is the development team behind Street Fighter V, did a very heartfelt and very succinct live video. Well, it was like live, but they did a full on video representing season 5 for Street Fighter V and the updates. The fact that they actually listened to the community, the fact that they actually understood that there were problems with the game and that they knew that they needed to fix it to really get people back on board, not just with Street Fighter V, but, Capcom fighting in general. With the absolute dicking that they got because of MVCI and, the last couple of seasons of content for Street Fighter V just not being anywhere near anything that anyone wanted. All of a sudden they came back and they're like, here's Dan, here's Oro, here's Rose, characters we all know that you love and or are going to be actually excited for in Street Fighter V that we goofed. And then out of left fucking field are like, oh, and by the way, we're putting in a Rival Schools character, like a game that nobody has heard of anything of since like 96. And they're like, by the way, remember Rival Schools? Like, I just
want to note that it was absolutely fucking hilarious how mad Emily was that Dan got announced.
Yeah, she's still pissed off to this day that T-Hawk has yet to make an appearance.
She was like, Dan's gonna be in this game, motherfucker, and I just fucking responded in her chat, Yahoo!
No, that's fine. Hibiki bitch.
Oh, that's great.
Motherfucking psycho. The thing that I thought was really funny was the whole, like, Maximilian did a Dan Legacy just for the shits of it. And then, like, 48 hours after he finished, the last video for the series went up on YouTube. The Capcom guys did their fucking video, and they had fucking actual video of Dan in the Street Fighter V engine. And he's like, did I will this fucker into existence?
I saw that video and I thought it was hilarious.
Oh no, it was great. Like, nobody expected this. And it was like, they took a page out of the Monster Hunter dev team playbook and did a video styled just like they had it styled for fucking the Monster Hunter World update videos, and they did it for Street Fighter, which is the first time we'd ever seen them do anything like that for Street Fighter at all. Every time we'd ever done anything with it before, it was whenever Ono was going to be at a big public event, he would reveal the next piece. And so the fact that not only were they willing to really be like, people want these update videos when you have them ready, not just when you think we want them or at a big fighting game event. They definitely understood, and they basically came up with we heard you, we understand, and we're sorry, and here's what we're going to do to make it up. And so far that we've seen, while it still is going to take until the end of 2021 to get all of the characters, and we still don't know who the 5th character is yet, for the Season 5 DLC, it's still like a big fucking deal that they went through all of this stuff. They're like, we understand and we're sorry about the netcode issue. We're working on it. Here is what we're actually working on content-wise. And a bunch of people, not just Max, but even myself and a few other people who are all like really heavy in watching this kind of stuff, we're just like, they only just started this DLC pack a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months prior to this video release. It was not something that they had been working on for a while, and it was very plainly evident in the fact that they had no footage of Rose at all. And they could already tell you just from like the way they were talking about Oro and Akira that they had nothing. They were in planning stages for those characters. They had nothing other than the character art. They didn't even have the Akira art that's in the stylization of Street Fighter V. They were using the original Rival Schools stock art. The Project Justice art actually is what it was, but like it was like the 96, 97 Project Justice art for Akira in that video. Like they didn't have any of the updated Street Fighter V art for her yet because they had literally just been like, this is who we're going to do. So like, and like I said, we still know who the 5th is, but that was my unexpected for 2020 is like that Capcom Fighting finally understood that they fucked up, and they're kind of actually listening now. So it's good. It's good.
All right, and Mr. MPI, what is your most surprising game or gaming moment of 2020?
I think what like really surprised me and a lot of other people was Microsoft buying Bethesda.
Oh god.
Yeah, that was out of left field.
That just came out of nowhere. Like,
well, so let's be
thinking about it. It makes sense. How many other people have they bought in the past few years? You know, but it was just like one day we woke up and suddenly Bethesda's owned by Microsoft.
Then not just Bethesda, but the id as well, and ZeniMax Online.
Let's be clear about that. They bought ZeniMax, who is the shareholder for all of those other companies. So they own Bethesda, id. You know, they own like 5 companies that are associated with ZeniMax.
Yeah, that was just like okay, well shit, here we go. And curious to see where that goes.
I'm curious to see if they give themselves 6 months of exclusivity, because they said they're not going to deny multi-platform games when it comes to like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but we'll see how long it takes for Microsoft to, roll back on that.
I think Microsoft is honestly looking more towards getting out of the console business and being a
content provider.
A content provider, especially in the PC marketplace. That may be wrong. They may end up doing exactly as you said. It's just that's the way it feels to me. It feels like they're trying to become PC to the exclusion of the console market, and the console market is just kind of like there for them to make their money off of, but they're not as concerned about it.
Do you think maybe after this current generation, their next idea will probably be something more cloud-based, something that like you can stream Microsoft games on a Switch or something like that, kind of something we talked about like a year or two ago almost. Because like Microsoft was trying, because Microsoft has been trying to extend their reach, like working with Nintendo or trying to work with Sony or whatever. It just seems like they have some kind of something going on in the background besides their cloud service.
No, they want to stick their fingers in all of the different pies. That's what Microsoft wants. They don't care about whether or not they have console exclusivity. They just want money. They're in it to make sure that the content and the games are placed and put in such a position that they have the ability to generate some form of passive income from it across all platforms.
Okay.
That is their hold up concept at this point. Cloud is cloud. That's why they have xCloud on the Series platform. But even that is still, you got to own it, and it's got to be on your console when you want to stream it to your device. So it's, there is still a level of ownage that they have, ownership that they have on that product that they want you to be able to gain access to, but they want you to do it. Think of it as like Mark will know when I say SSO. That's what Microsoft wants. They want single sign-in that's just purely all Microsoft account.
Okay.
And have it all linked directly
understand.
through that.
But this sounds like a discussion for another day, though, sadly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. All right. You wanted to say something else, Spence?
I don't think the game has to be on your console for xCloud.
You still have to have the license for it. You don't have to have it on the actual console, but you still have to own the game.
I think you have to have Game Pass.
I mean, Microsoft is trying to push people to do XPass. I mean, hence them trying to increase or attempt to increase the Xbox Live subscription fee.
Oh, that got instantly nixed, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah. So, all right. Before we end this topic, I will now talk about my surprising gaming moment. This little fucker came out unexpectedly at the end of last year. This is a game called Paprium, which, if you're familiar with the company that made it, Watermelon Games. I don't know. Is anybody here familiar with Watermelon Games?
I think.
No. What else have they made?
We are not.
They made their first game was Pure Solar, which is an RPG that first released on the Sega Genesis, and then was later released on virtual consoles a few years later, and on the Dreamcast as well. They're this little indie game company that started back in the day, mid 2000s, on a Sega fan forum, and they were making a game called, the Sega forum, like the Tavern or whatever it was called, like a fan game, and then it eventually evolved into Pure Solar, and that game took about 7 years to develop, and it was released. Paprium took about just as long, but it was more controversial. It's been in development for about 6 years, and about 2 years into development, pre-orders were allowed to go in because they thought they were close to finalizing it. Then they started hitting snags. PayPal was deeming them as suspicious and was not releasing their funds to them so they can start production. They were having issues with suppliers in terms of getting the game carts made. They had to start letting go of the staff because they didn't have the funds to pay everybody. The guy who was in charge of it eventually had to actually move to China and oversee the production of the carts, which took about another 2 years. And then there was the fact that there was just radio silence for like the final 2.5 years about the game. So the game was originally supposed to come out 2 years ago. Nothing happened. And then the next thing I know, I got an email at the beginning of December saying, "Hey, we just need you to verify your address so we can ship it out to you as soon as possible." I do that, and the next day I got an invoice saying, "Hey, it got shipped and it's on the way." And then I got it 2 days after Christmas, and I'm just like, "Holy shit! It's real! It's fucking real!" So, and it's a fun little game. It's a beat 'em up that has multi-paths, lots of unlockable characters. It's the biggest Sega Genesis game out there. It's 80 megabytes, or 80 megs. 80 mega power, as Joe from GameSack would say. Yeah, so I'm just shocked that this thing exists and that I'm actually holding it in my hands. Like, after a 6-year journey of whether or not I just ate $60.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Mark, would you be so kind, sir, as to introduce the next segment?
Oh, good.
The next segment that we will be going with here is the 5th Annual PewDiePie Award for Special Achievement in Being an Asshole. Now,
Yay.
those who don't recall and have not been around during the entirety of the time of our podcast, what the fuck is wrong with you? But also, basically, it was originally called the Asshole Status Achieved Award until PewDiePie won it 3 years in a row.
Yep.
At which point it was decided he won it 3 years in a row. He gets to be the award namer. So then the award was renamed to the PewDiePie Award for Special Achievement in Being an Asshole. Since we've carried it on to this, the 5th anniversary of our show, it's the 5th annual.
Mm-hmm.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Oh, boy. So, Who would like to go first on presenting this one? Mark.
Oh, we are going first with me? Fine.
Yeah,
sure,
go
why
for
not?
it. I'm pretty
So-
sure we already know who it is, but let's go.
So here's the thing, all right? Everybody else very specifically suggested that they had actual people who had done, like, legitimately horrible things this year. And I didn't necessarily want to double up, because what good is it if we're all just going to talk about the same person?
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
So I decided, fuck it. It's been a long-standing tradition now. I'm gonna talk about PewDiePie again.
Yay!
And you might say, Mark, is it? Or do you have some sort of negative obsession with this man? Do you hate him that much that you want to specifically spend this time going after this guy? And well, yes, but also no. You see, PewDiePie actually managed to slip through the cracks a bit in the year 2020, because nothing that he did was days and weeks long meme worthy. And he actually did a couple of good things in 2020. He acknowledged that he openly responded flippantly to controversy and is avoiding it now by simply not doing that. And he openly went out of his way to squash his beef with Alinity. So, that's good. Maybe PewDiePie is actually maturing to a certain extent. Maybe he's becoming a better person. I thought you had a horribly negative obsession with Jim Sterling. Really?
I just thought you had a real positive outlook on Jim Sterling.
Actually, I thought
Okay.
if anybody you had a more negative output towards besides PewDiePie, it would be the quartering.
Oh, the quartering is a fucking horrible monster, but I don't want to fucking talk about him because we'll be here. The quartering is the worst, objectively, and I just don't fucking feel like giving that guy any more fucking air than he already gets. Yeah, I don't know where it came from that I would have a negative obsession with Jim Sterling. I definitely have some issues with some of his takes, but no, by and large, I think he's fine. I have no problem. He's okay. But yeah, so so you would think that all of this would be good, and we would finally be moving away from PewDiePie as a piece of shit in the world of gaming. Well, no. One. So he took a break from YouTube and came back in February, right during the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak, and decided it'd be a real great idea in the middle of his having a discussion about the coronavirus outbreak to just break out random fake Chinese in his video.
Yep.
That sounds par for the course.
Yeah, that's what we expect from him and less. But Jesus
and don't forget
Christ,
about
really?
Don't forget about the part where he put on like 10 different fucking surgical masks all over his face.
Yes, he put like 6 fucking 3M surgical Type 97 or whatever it is called masks.
The N97s, yeah.
Yeah, which that's just like a fucking stupid gag. At the time, I don't think he realized, especially him, realized how big of a deal coronavirus was going to be. So I'm not gonna fucking shit on him for that part of it. But yeah, like it is the year of our Lord at that time. It was the year of our Lord 2020, my dude. Being racist against Chinese people is still not fucking okay, and it hasn't been for a while. 2. So in August, his Spotify playlist was leaked. And I say leaked in space quotes here.
Right.
So
Here, I'll do it for you.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. So a bunch of musicians called him out and basically were like, I don't fucking want him listening to my music. Now, this is the same man who has openly acknowledged that he has a history of controversy and that a lot of people don't fucking like him. So you would think that maybe he would understand why this would be the case because, he's a dumb asshole. Nope. He pretended he had no idea who half of those musicians were, even though they were on a fucking Spotify playlist that was part of like things that he was broadcasting. Then refused to accept that there might be reasons that people were mad at him and responded, "Boy, do I feel stupid for listening to music online." Fuck you, Felix. 3. He might be doing a tax evasion. So this isn't illegal, although it really fucking should be. 2 additional directors were appointed to PewDie UK Limited, which I am led to believe is the name of PewDiePie's business operation. So, both of the directors provide a correspondence address in Nicosia, Cyprus, to Companies House, the UK's Register of Companies. What this means essentially is that Cyprus is a tax haven where they get a lot more money available to them in taxes, because I want to say the UK is like a 19% tax rate or something to that case, and Cyprus it's 12.5. So he effectively is pretending that he's established in Cyprus so that he can pay less taxes. So the article in question that I got this from, Input Magazine, talked to a YouTuber whose name is Quebblecop. I don't fucking know, and your name is stupid. I don't fucking care if I get it right. Fuck you. He said that he could see why PewDiePie would do that. When you're talking about the top of the line best YouTubers out there like PewDiePie, that's when most of them are going to start considering looking for ways to minimize the amount of money they have to pay. A lot of people try to keep it as secret as possible because it can be damaging to their reputation if it's twisted in a negative light. Now, I don't know in what way you can possibly twist being so fucking rich that you decide to establish your corporation in a tax haven to get less money paid into the country in which you live in a positive light. Maybe if you were like, openly an Antifa sort of person, but Felix is as fucking capitalist as they come. So the fact that he's doing this is objectively negative. Fuck you.
Right.
Also, Ninja was bitching a few months ago about roughly half his income was being paid in taxes every year. That is not a relatable fucking conversation.
I mean,
you make more money in 1 year than I will see in 20. Like, it's not even just being an independent contractor. It's he makes more money than God.
Oh yeah.
Like at that rate, the median tax rate is the fucking highest because you make the most money, and that's the way it fucking should be. If your argument is I make $80 gajillion a year and I shouldn't have to pay taxes, fuck you. But also, I want to take a note there. This motherfucker can hire multiple directors for Pewdie UK Limited, his actual corporation. But he can't hire a fucking PR person to unfuck the stupid shit he says online on a day-to-day basis. Are you fucking telling me this motherfucker was able to hire 2 guys to make sure that he doesn't have to pay all the taxes that he has to pay, but he couldn't hire somebody to tell him, hey, maybe don't wear something that looks like the Iron Cross when you're saying you're not donating to a Jewish charity, my guy? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God.
I can't imagine a PR person who wants that job.
I mean,
if he pays enough, I'd fucking do it. I'd absolutely fucking do it. Pay me, PewDiePie. Pay me to fucking tell you when you're being stupid. I'll fucking do that for $100,000 a year. Give it to me. Come on. Fucking pour the money into my fucking fat mouth. And the best part is I'll be so stressed doing this for you, I'm only going to live like 3 years anyway. So you'll be able to find somebody better once you figured out the worst shit. It's fine. But then the thing that really fucking cemented me on it, and Jan, you almost certainly saw this. Today he announced that he has a VTube avatar.
Yep.
Now, Janice and I had a conversation about this when I want to say Pokimane announced a VTube avatar, and the general output from the community was very divided. Jan and I at that point very specifically agreed that we did not have a problem with the idea of Pokimane having that sort of an avatar because it confers many specific benefits to her as an individual content creator, and for the most part it offers no real negatives. PewDiePie being a part of your community is inherently a negative because the people that he brings with him are objectively toxic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So most people could create a VTuber avatar, and I would think that's great. PewDiePie is the death of your fucking platform. If anything is going to damage VTubing, it is the second biggest asshole in the YouTube video gaming sphere, in the streaming video gaming sphere, because XQC is consistently gunning for that fucking thing every day. Let's be clear.
That's not wrong. You're not wrong. Him and XQC could probably hold fucking like TED Talks on how to be the most toxic human being on the planet.
Yeah, so his community is the worst. Bringing his community into the VTuber community will only hurt it. It will not bring any positive exposure to it because he's scum and he sucks. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
But yeah, at the end of the day, my viewpoint remains the same. Hashtag fuck PewDiePie forever. But the other people that we're going to talk about are all objectively worse. I just didn't want to talk about any of them.
Let's just take a moment right here and give Mark a round of applause for that one off. Constantly finding something to bitch about PewDiePie.
Listen, that is not a thing that I'm proud of. Let me tell you, that is not a thing that you should be fucking cheering for me for. That is
objectively.
Mark, you found something and you turned it into entertainment. So that's what we're applauding you for.
Yeah, but that is not a thing I should be applauded for. Let's just put that where it is. Now, you should not be proud of me for doing that. I'm not proud of me for doing that.
Okay. I guess I'll go next.
It is objectively your worst superpower, Mark.
Yes. I will say it only took me 20 minutes to figure out why to be mad at PewDiePie. So if you want to be pleased at me for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was 20 minutes of thought.
Speed running PewDiePie. Hey, that's fine.
Yes, speed running shitting on PewDiePie. There we go.
All right, so
it's like my fucking asshole is a fucking auto shotgun full of like fucking hot Taco Bell right in PewDiePie's mouth.
Oh god.
Okay, let's move on, please. Before you're giving PewDiePie too much limelight here. Okay.
More like brown light, am I right?
Wow.
I don't have Failhorn set up. Damn it. All right. So moving on, I'll go next this time. So the next person for the PewDiePie Asshole of the Year award. Sorry, Mark. Is gonna be Gutex, and it is kind of weird that lately the FGC seems to every year produce an asshole that rises above the ranks. A couple years ago, it was Oofmatic of the Soul Calibur community. Just after him, it was Jaxel. Last year, at the end of the year, just after the capital city storming, it was Gutex making the comment on Twitter about, is there going to be justice, demands for justice for the one woman who was shot by cops. Keep in mind that 5 people died that night. Some of them were cops, by the way. It just so happens that, someone who was trespassing on public property was shot. I don't really feel for you.
Ahem.
Just to establish the full the full context of this, the tweet he wrote was, and I quote, "Will there be civil unrest for the woman who was executed inside the Capitol today, or will the hashtag MAGA martyr die in vain? The video will be aired soon, banned.video and the resistance.video, and it sounds pretty gruesome."
Yeah, and he did manage to post the video later. I didn't watch it because, quite frankly, I don't feel like watching somebody die. So, with that in mind, his comment was absolutely uncalled for because it does 2 things. It practically says that what the people did storming the Capitol building was perfectly acceptable, and 2, it literally was a bitch slap to the face to everybody that was a part of the Black Lives Matter protest for all the civil injustices that was held against them and that what they were trying to peacefully march for earlier last year. Okay? And on top of that, people cannot seem to, and I'm trying not to get too political here because that is not what our platform is about. It's about gaming and all that shit, because Gutex is a representative of the fighting game community.
Well, not anymore. He's not. But,
No,
you
not
know.
anymore. In fact, he had his pog face removed from Twitch. Ooh, not like I used that ever though. But it still, you had a Black Lives Matter movement going on last year because they were tired of constantly tolerating systemic racism and a corrupt justice system and just poorly trained police officers who were just allowing too much crap to just fly. In regards to how they treat certain people differently when it comes to arrests and whatnot, and certain people not getting justice. So I'm going to leave that there. But at the end of the day, his comments were absolutely 100% uncalled for, inappropriate, and just offensive for the wrong reasons. And it just, like, what the hell? It's just as bad as Jaxel saying, "Hey, I should not be accused of, I should not be vilified for wrong thing because of all the liberal blah blah blah." No, fuck you guys. Okay, it's come to a point where it's not the '80s anymore. Okay, it's not like the '70s where you can get away with saying the N-word on TV. Okay, society keeps progressing, things change, and it's not sensitivity or any of that nonsense, okay? It's right and wrong, and people just don't seem to understand that what they say out loud is wrong, even if, by the way, if you still harbor those feelings and you don't say them, you're still wrong. So, it's just like, fuck you guys, for real, like, you're really just in the way of progress at this point, okay? We're trying to move forward as a society, and making offbeat comments like that when you are a representative of a community that has been strongly embracing, let's be honest, if you look at other communities like the first-person shooter community or strategy communities or the MOBA communities, guess what? The majority of those are white people. You look at the FGC, I see color everywhere. And you being a representative of that, I'm sure your buddy Mike Ross really appreciated what you said, Gutex, by the way. So, with that, I'm going to move on before it gets a little too heavy in here because we still got 2 more people to talk about. So, who would like to go next?
Oh, go ahead, Spence. I can go last. That's fine.
Yeah.
So my close second was also Gutex because of that, and if I remember right, he also was spreading some misinformation about COVID and things like that. Which
he was he's part of the fucking Bleach Church, yeah.
Yep.
Get fucked. But mine is not something that necessarily only happened in 2020. It's just when all of this information came to light. If you guys have ever watched Achievement Hunter or know who Rooster Teeth is, you probably know who these people are, what I'm going to say. But my winner of the Asshole of the Year award is James Ryan Haywood. You can go fuck yourself. So if you guys don't know, I'll try to keep it brief because there's so much to this story and there's so much to unpack and it's just fucked. But essentially, if you guys don't know what Achievement Hunter is, they're a huge Let's Play channel. And if you don't know who he was just one of the cast members and also streamed on Twitch. The problem came that he was using his Twitch channel and the money that he made from his subscribers and from tips through bits and PayPal to groom young women who were underage, and was in using like just so much of his platform to do that and to get these young women into like their hotel rooms at conventions and lying to like his cast members where he is, why he's gone, and all these things. And then to make matters worse and to just kind of like add insult to injury and salt to the wound, a couple weeks ago, like January 5th, I think it was, Twitch has a feature, I guess you can call it, where you can send an email to everyone who's subscribed to your channel. It's kind of like the @everyone tag in Discord, but it's only for your subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who were still subscribed to him, which were some people who just forgot that they were subscribed, or unfortunately people who are defending him, or people were gifting subs still in the channel, and people were receiving them and not realizing it. So they got all these emails, and essentially he was trying to come back to Twitch. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and now he's been banned. But yeah, that's the shortest version of it.
Wait, say that last part again. He what?
Which part?
Banned.
He was banned.
So he was banned off of Twitch finally, because a lot of this happened because of the Twitch community that he had, and that gave him the ability to do that. And whenever he sent that email out, a lot of people, including everyone involved in Achievement Hunter, basically was trying to get Twitch's attention to say, you cannot allow this fucker back on your platform. Like, he has no space anywhere. Make sure that doesn't happen. And then it was only a couple of days, I think, but they did finally kind of get around to it, and they did ban the channel. But yeah, that's the shortest version of it I can give. If you want to learn more, the easiest place I would say to look is the Rooster Teeth subreddit. I think literally like every day, this happened in October, and like literally every day for multiple weeks to a month, there were new threads of someone else coming forward to speak about their experience. And it happened again, whenever he sent that email. People were finding the courage at that point to come forward and speak out about it. So that's to give you an idea of how deep and long that situation was. That was basically all that subreddit became, was people coming forward to give their experience and talk about their story, which was really a lot of really hard shit to read and see a community go through. So for that, fuck you.
All right, Jan, close out this segment, please. It's kind of getting depressing.
I'm gonna make it more depressing because it's kind of along the same lines. Also, I was just a smidge detracted by the fact that apparently Max just announced that they are going to be doing a 32-person KI tournament powered by Twitch Rivals on February 1st. So that's fucking super exciting to me. Holy shit, I can't wait for that.
I started following on Twitter. I'm looking at maybe entering some if they're at a reasonable time of night. Because I've been doing Virtual Fighter, and I'm looking to rejoin the KI community. Actually, no, be a part of the KI community soon, because I love the franchise. I just don't know why I never really got involved in it.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, along the same lines of what MPI was talking about, I'm actually going to be talking to somebody that sort of affects me in terms of my personal communities as well. So... back at the beginning of the year, there was a VTuber individual who had a fairly sizable influence. She was on the rise. She had an interview show.
Person before, didn't you?
I have talked about her before.
Okay.
So the reason why I'm bringing her up again is because, anyway, I'll get into it. But long story short, there was a specific individual in the VTuber community who had a great amount of influence. She was on the rise. She was working towards partner. She was doing interviewing shows. She was very popular. She had a very sizable following. And a lot of things came to light where finally and eventually people brought it to light that she was, not only was she a pedophile, but she was also in the stages of grooming her younger brother. So it was all familial. It was all together. It was all gross. There was multiple people in the community, and not even just in the community, but also outside of the community, who all had, ties to her. There was a lot of things that happened. Eventually, she got to the point where she stopped streaming for a couple of weeks. Legal proceedings occurred. A lawsuit happened. The people that were accusing ended up having to take a lot of the information down. It then got archived. A bunch of additional people were able to save the information so that anyone can still access it. And then flash forward to October. She'd pretty much fallen off the map. No one had really found anything about it, only to find out that she was not only attempting to make a return to streaming as a generalized point of view, but was trying to do so in such a way that basically nullified a lot of the people that had been accusing her outside of the legal proceedings. At which point, a lot of people found out that she was instantly blocking a lot of the English-speaking VTuber community and was attempting, and I say that very, very, very succinctly, that she was attempting to bypass the English community hate by blocking everybody that she knew that knew anything about her, and attempting to push her debut and sort of bring back the concept of doing streaming again, no harm, no foul to the Japanese community. That shit didn't fly at all, and a lot of the prominent English VTubers on Twitch instantly found out, and just did massive amounts of shoutouts over a period of about 24 hours. The new Twitter account and the updated name for her Twitch account all got almost instantly shut down. And she basically continued to try to say that she had done nothing wrong. To me, that basically just screams you're an asshole. If you're going to go around and do all these things and show we've got proof, and it's all legitimate proof that these are things. It's not just alleged. We actually have hard evidence. There's a legal case that's occurring because of this actual physical evidence that exists. And you're basically trying to turn around with it. Well, that's not true. It never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. This is all false. I'll have you know that it's not real. Blah blah blah. And it's like,
it's not true. It never happened. It was fiction.
It was fiction. Except that it was true and it did happen. And the worst part about it is that she basically just straight up did everything that she could to make it seem like the actual like incidents of stuff that happened on Discord and other websites never even happened. Like, she basically nullified the existence of these victims. And so, like, for me and for that and for the idea, it's like, you cannot take something that is supposed to embody the concept of togetherness and a community that's supposed to be one of the most welcoming and open communities out there in terms of streaming communities are concerned, and just blatantly shove it back in everyone's faces that you're, no, I'm the victim. I'm the one here that's a problem. This isn't, I didn't harm them, they harmed me. So for that, I say, fuck you, you're an asshole.
All right, so... God, I'm depressed now because there's so many horrible people in the world.
Well, let's talk about our Game of the Year then.
Yes, that's a good idea, Jen. Let's do that. Let's talk about the Game of the Year award, the final category. All right, so Jan, or actually, who has not gone first yet so far?
Me.
Okay, Jan. Yeah, I was thinking you didn't. So please, Jan, present us with your Game of the Year for 2020.
I had a little bit of a trouble time trying to figure out what I was gonna go with. I was kind of bouncing back and forth between Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ghost of Tsushima, and Sobs and Tactical Gamer. I know. I was really kind of sad that there wasn't a solid tactical game in 2020, honestly, because that's like kind of my go-to genre. Gears Tactics was kind of Phoenix Point exists. It's but for all of the time that I spent and enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I did, I enjoyed every moment of it. Coming from somebody who basically would say that the Final Fantasy VII as a baseline, the original is in her top 5 games of all time. I would say that I enjoyed the amount of time that I had with it. I came from a perspective of understanding that there were going to be certain loose ends that weren't going to make a lot of sense until the next game came out. I understood almost immediately what was going on with what Hubs basically called MacGuffin ghosts, being embodiments of the spirit of the life force and the energy of the live stream, because I've watched Advent Children a bunch of times, so I understood where they were coming from.
Which is not something that I would openly admit, but right on.
I mean, sure, whatever. I like it. It's a good movie.
Yes, thank you, Jan.
It's also not something I would openly admit, but whatever.
That's fine.
Well, that's also because Mark does not like Final Fantasy VII as a whole, so...
I mean, that's fine.
Advent Children is fucking...
Really? Let's compare Final Fantasy the movie to Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Which one do you think is actually a good representation of the franchise?
Okay, hold on. There are a total of 4 Final Fantasy movie or Final Fantasy related movies.
Yeah, there's one that's based on Final Fantasy V. I forget what that anime was called. Then there was... the one I'm talking about is the CGI one that came out just after Final Fantasy VIII. The Spirits Within. Then there was Advent Children.
I apologize. There are 5. So there's the anime that occurred. Well, actually, there are 2 separate animes, but Final Fantasy Unlimited is a separate offshoot concept of the Final Fantasy multiverse theory versus just Final Fantasy in general. But there is an actual Final Fantasy anime that occurred, which I honestly would say was probably the best out of all of them. There is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, and Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15.
I like Kingsglaive, actually. I saw that.
Kingsglaive is solid. It's a tie-in movie that leads to the basis of what you're doing within Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, so it's good for what it is.
Depressing,
but it's. I mean, so is 15. But the overall concept of what they did between Advent Children and Remake makes a lot more sense if you've seen it and understand sort of the basis of the contrast between the stories.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like where everything is leading up to. The thing though is, and for what it's worth, the game that really took it for me was Ghost of Tsushima. And I fell in love with that game almost instantly. The combat was fluid enough that it wasn't something that necessarily needed to be the cornerstone of the game, but the open world feel, the play style, the cinematics, the music, it all really meshed together well enough for me to really see it for the game that it needed to be. And I feel like in a year where games really needed to kind of bring everything together and really have this whole concept of like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna make this work because of COVID? And like how are we really going to solidify what is going to end up being like the best and the best of the best of the what's really going to stand out? And in a year where, let's be 100%, Last of Us Part 2 literally ran away with awards and praise that it just shouldn't have, because, let's be honest, Naughty Dog is a shitty fucking company, and they did some really shitty fucking things to their employees to make that game even possible.
Yep.
We're not getting into it, but we've had to talk. and you and me, Mark, both, we know that they did not deserve the praise that they got for that game. There was a lot of things about it that they shouldn't have. While for what it's worth, the award that Laura Bailey got for Abby is well praised, and I'm okay with that. I do not have a problem with Laura Bailey. She's a wonderful human being. And the fact that she was able to get it over the gentleman who did the English voice for the lead in Ghosts is kind of a test, because Laura Bailey is, as Abby, won over versus the actual quote unquote main character of Last of Us, which I think is fucking hilarious and just kind of a real shot to the face for basically everyone else. But the fact that they also won multiple games of the year, the fact that it won for sound design, the fact that it won for game narrative, like that shit burns me the fuck up, because no, fuck yourself. That is not a good fucking narrative. Okay.
Right, back to game of the year.
So Ghosts, in my mind and in my eye, a lot of where all of this really kind of came together, Ghosts really put me back into a position of, like, I guess, peace. Because I was really able to look at the game and kind of understand, oh, okay, you know what? I actually enjoy playing this game. And it wasn't just a matter of, like, I'm going to pick it up for a couple hours and then go back down and, like, pick it back up for a couple hours. Like, it genuinely left me with a sense of awe and reverence pretty much the entire time. Like, there wasn't a point where I thought, oh man, this is tedious, or this is kind of boring, or I wish this looked better. You know, it really is, and in my mind was probably one of the main reasons why it drew me in as well as it did. Because, you know, Sucker Punch, a company based in not Japan, made a game that is based in past Japan, and most of the Japanese companies and most of the Japanese, you know, people that played this game gave it such high praise for being so good and a very accurate representation in the common point of, you know, early Japan. So for that, you know, all of that together, they just really, it put itself to a position where I enjoyed it enough that is why I'm basically going to say that Ghost of Tsushima is my game of the year.
All right. Let's go to Spencer. What do you think is your game of the year, buddy?
I think my game of the year for 2020 was probably Phasmophobia. It wasn't out for a lot of 2020, but I had more fun playing that game with friends than any game of the entire year. Just there were so many just like goofy moments, whether it was the game glitching out or people getting scared and chased by ghosts or whatever it was, that we just had so many fun moments that I keep wanting to still go back to it and play it, even though it's very repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a very repetitive game, and you go into a house or a building, you try to figure out what ghost it is. Congratulations, you played Phasmophobia. But just so many goofy things can happen with, like, the models, because it's a VR game that can also be played not in VR, or just it's a game that you're forced to play with other people. For the most part, like, you can play it solo, but man, is it not fun. But just like the fun times and the laughs you can have with friends was just like exactly what I would have wanted and needed in a game in 2020, you know? Like the gaming and online was the only way to stay connected with people. So being able to have that game that just like took you into it and made you laugh with your friends, like if you were all sitting around on a couch and, you know, joking or watching a funny movie or whatever it was just like perfect. The game is broken as all hell, but it was perfect. If that makes any sense.
Hey,
Like,
sometimes
exactly
broken games
what
are
you
great
needed,
games.
You know?
I mean, look at Goat Simulator.
I mean, that game was built to be broken because it was supposed to be broken and fun. That was like the whole point of Goat Simulator.
Oh yeah. So,
Phasmophobia is definitely less broken than Ghost Simulator is.
I would agree.
Yeah. Still broken, but less broken.
Alrighty, let's I'll go next. So,
okay.
For my game of the year, it's definitely not Among Us. So, let's take a couple seconds to recognize the fact that Among Us is a game that came out in 2018, and for whatever reason, YouTubers and the Game Awards decided to make it Mobile Game of the Year. Okay, whatever. So, I'm trying to understand that dumbass logic there. But anyway, my Game of the Year, I actually did have a hard time thinking about this one because, I didn't play... I actually think I played less than 10 games that came out last year. But a lot of them were a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with Sakura Wars. It was a great game. For all my gripes and issues about Final Fantasy VII, I still enjoyed it to some degree, but it definitely is far away from being a game of the year. Resident Evil 3 was great in every aspect. Not as great as Resident Evil 2 Remake was, but it was still a stellar standout game. Guilty pleasure in the franchise for me. And, of course, as much fun as I've been having, I really enjoy Cyberpunk 2077. But the one game I think that really stood out for me is a game that is a remake of one of my favorite action RPGs of all times in the Mana saga, and that is the remake of Trials of Mana, as it is named, as it finally comes to the United States for the first time. And it's just like the way they handled it. I mean, granted, a few years ago they did a remake of Secret of Mana for the PS4 and Switch, and it was not lauded very well. It was not well received. It was iffy at best. Trials of Mana, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. It is a wonderful game from the ground up. Its combat engine flows nicely. It's really fun. I love the characters, minus I forget the name of the little brat who talks with a fucking lisp, and it really irritates me. That's the only mark against the game. But other than that, the game is just amazing. I love the updated soundtrack. It's so beautiful to listen to, with, not sounding like 16-bit tunes. I love the fact that okay. I love again the fact that you have 6 characters, and with that 3 potential final bosses, which extends the replay value of the game. Then there's the post-game credit content, which is also just as great, and it's a game that just kept me going for a while, and I just couldn't put the game down. It drew me away from so many of the other games. Like, I actually put down Sakura Wars so I can play this game for the 60 hours that I put into it, which was phenomenal. And I really hope, maybe they do another Mana game remade just like this, like maybe the original Sword of Mana, or hell, I would love to see Legend of Mana get a nice little facelift like that. But then again, they don't really seem to give too much of a damn about the Mana series, to be truthfully honest. It's like the bastard child. It's like the Metroid series for Nintendo to them. So with that, though, I would have to now turn it over to Mark, who will close out the awards for 2020.
That seems to happen a lot. I want to say it happened last year and the year before last too, but I don't remember. Anyway, so for my game of the year, I kind of want to start off by noting that, man, I did not play a lot of or any of so many of the games I actually wanted to put time into that came out in 2020. I did not play a lot of XCOM Chimera Squad, Gears Tactics, Sakura Wars, Streets of Rage 4, Carrion, or Visage. They were all fun. They were all enjoyable games, but I just didn't get an opportunity to put anywhere near as much time into them as I wanted to. And I physically I purchased, they're sitting on my shelf, and I did not have a chance to play 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Wasteland 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Disaster Report 4, or the RE3 make.
Wait, you didn't play Wasteland 3 and it was like one of your most anticipated games of the year?
Yep.
Damn. It'd be like that sometimes, don't it?
I was fucking busy.
I get it.
Work kicked me in the ass. What am I going to do? Also, Langrisser 1 and 2, which I'm actually playing literally right now while we're talking. But that only came out in 2020 on the PC, so it doesn't really count. but whatever, fuck off. Anyway.
Well, Line Cruiser 1 and 2, I also got it on the Switch, so I haven't touched it either, so now I'm going to have to get to it.
Yeah, but it's like just so many of those games I own. I physically have them. I haven't played them. It's just fuck me. But I did get an opportunity to spend some time with some games that came out in 2020, and of the games that I spent time with, without a doubt, without a question, Hades is my game of the year.
Nice.
So I am very hit or miss with Supergiant games. I always love their aesthetic. I think their aesthetic is great. I generally enjoy everything about Supergiant games but playing them.
No, I get that. I really do understand that.
Yeah, I understand it too.
Yeah, and like I want to be clear. Like I don't think they're bad developers. I think they're very good developers. I love the fact that the writing of their games is quite good. The aesthetic of their games is quite good. But
man, I love Transistor. Holy shit.
Yeah, like Transistor is beautiful. It sounds great. I did not enjoy playing it. Bastion sounds great. I love the fucking narrator. Did not enjoy playing.
Yeah, that's a game I really enjoy a lot.
Yeah, Pyre, it's fucking beautiful. Nobody enjoyed playing that. So with Hades, like that's a marked departure for me because it is the first one of their games that I think the aesthetics are gorgeous. I think the music is great, and I fucking love playing it. It's fun. I love me some action-oriented roguelikes. And I think Hades does a great job in the Dead Cells milieu of being a game where you get what you get and your objective is to try to make it through to the end. But there's one thing I really like about Hades on top of all of that things like Rogue Legacy or Immortal Redneck or Dead Cells or I can't remember the Blasphemous don't do, and you don't necessarily have to, but it would definitely be helpful for a lot of people. It has a mode that you can just say, I don't fucking care about all that bullshit. I just want to see all of your cool characters and get through your cool plot and fucking make it to the end of the game. I don't give a shit about fucking doing all of the roguelike mechanics and being good at this game. Just fucking let me see your goddamn shit and move on with my day. Right. And you know what? I've said it before. I'll say it again. I fucking 100%ed Dark Souls. I 100%ed fucking Bloodborne. I 100%ed everything in Dark Souls 3 except for the fucking trophies that required me to fucking spend like 80 gajillion hours collecting random shit in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. I have get it as good as I expect that anybody should be expected to get in this day and age. Difficulty can fucking French my anus. You don't fucking need it. And if you think that you do need it to make your game evocative the way that you need to, you're probably not a very good artist. I'm not gonna fucking say that your shit isn't art. It absolutely is. I just think that if difficulty is the sole expression by which that you're getting your artistry across, you're probably kind of poopy doopy when it comes to like certain aspects of your art, and maybe you should shut the fuck up. Yes, that includes From Software. I've been playing their game since the original Armored Core on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I beat the original Armored Core on the PlayStation 1. I get to say about From Software whatewhatever the fuck I want. Get on my level, you fucking bitch.
There you go.
Go back and fucking beat Kingsfield. Go back and fucking beat, I can't think of the fucking name of the game. Shadow Tower Abyss with, like, no English translation, and then fucking come talk to me. Go beat Kuon and then fucking come talk to me.
Go beat Kuon.
Oh god. Oh god.
Yeah, fuck off. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I like the fact that they have a mechanic in there that says, look, I don't fucking care about the shit. Just let me fucking get to the end of the game and see what's going on. I haven't used it. I haven't beaten the game yet because I still legitimately do want to try. But I like that it's there so that if I ever do get tired of the game, I can just see the fucking ending and then I can come back to it. But I still love the way the game plays. I love the fact that they have that option in there if I don't fucking feel like dealing with it. And it's the best Supergiant game I've ever played. Period.
Alrighty. And with that right there, I think it is time to conclude the show. Doing a little round table that we always do. So, what has everybody got going on, and what's coming up on their agendas? We'll start with you, Jan. You are probably the most active out of the four of us.
Typically, yes, that is true. However, this week, because of my tooth, I am on a bit of a hiatus. So I'm still doing like my little side collabs and things that I had already preset because those were set in stone. The only other thing I have that is currently probably going to be happening this week is I will be doing a Splatoon Friday into Saturday stream because I finally got a chance to pick up Splatoon 2 on the Switch, and I have been enjoying the fuck out of it. It's a great game for what it's worth. And so I'm going to be doing a little bit of that on Friday night around 10 p.m. Mountain to about 1 a.m. This is to be able to associate myself with a couple of other people who are not in the United States so that I could adhere to their time zones and still kind of keep it to be mine over on my YouTube channel. This is specifically going to be for updated and new content that I'm going to be doing over there in the future. I actually have some changes and some plans that I'm going to be doing to kind of rein back a little bit on the Twitch side of things and start actually utilizing my YouTube channel for something other than just a VOD dump. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got this week. I'm pretty sure next week is probably still also going to be a little bit of time off just so that I can heal a little bit from the infection. But then once that is kind of squared away, I will be back up and raring to go back like I normally do on Twitch and YouTube and stuff.
All right, thank you, Jan. And Spencer, what is MPI Creates got on the horizon?
The too long didn't read version is I don't know.
I mean, new year, new you, new visions, maybe.
Yeah, I outside of gaming and like streaming video games, I also am a photographer and to a slightly lesser extent videographer and editor. More editor than shooting video. Before COVID happened, I was actually like really building up a pretty nice base of people to do like product photography for their businesses and their websites. And I have not shot a photo almost at all in like a year, and I'm like dying to do something outside of video game content creation. I know that's a weird thing to say on a video game podcast, but I'm still kind of figuring out exactly how I want to do all that. I've been thinking about doing just like going out into like forest areas or wooded areas here to shoot photos and then just do some like Lightroom editing on stream and hang out and chat with people. I know I still want to stream video games, just less of them. I want to do other stuff. Other than that, every Monday night, Mark joins me and another group of us. We do a tabletop session set in the world of Vampire the Masquerade. We do that at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my Twitch channel, and then we upload it to YouTube and podcasting platforms that following Thursday. So if you guys like tabletop RPGs, role-playing, or Vampire the Masquerade specifically, make sure you come check those out. Other than that, follow me on Twitter. It's the same name, MPI Creates, like it says below me, and that's where you'll find out what I'm going to be creating next.
All right, and Mr. Mark B. Writing.
Fuck if I know.
All right, moving on.
So I'm probably going to be trying to stream again starting this Saturday. I don't know what yet. Because I have a lot of games that I could potentially be playing. I also got my brand new PC in, which was sort of like a condition for me to start streaming again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want to do console game streaming because I haven't gotten all that hooked up right now. But I don't really know what on PC to play at the moment, so it's sort of a touch and go situation right now. I have a couple ideas for scripts for videos. I don't know if they're ever going to come to fruition in any capacity, but I'm certainly going to try. And yeah, for now, that's about it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, I hope things do pan out and you do start streaming again. For me, I I am trying to get back to my regular schedule, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I am continuing the Virtua Fighter bi-weekly tournaments. The next one was going to be February 7th, but that is the Super Bowl. And you'd be stupid to do something like that on Super Bowl Sunday, especially one as hyped as this. So we are going to be foregoing that, and the next one will be on February 21st. I will still continue to stream on Sundays, just not on the 7th. The next GVN Live show will be on February 9th, so 2 weeks from now. In regards to what I will be streaming, though, on the nights that are not the GVN Live or the Virtua Fighter, I'm probably going to start streaming Adelar Ryza 2 when it finally shows up. I'll probably start doing my back catalog of games that I have on Steam or on consoles. At the end of February, supposedly the Polymega is coming out, so I'll probably take that for a spin and stream a bunch of games off of that. I have a copy of Magic Knight Ray Earth sitting over there in my prize cabinet that I am looking forward to playing. I actually have been holding off on it, waiting for the Polymega to come in. So, cross my fingers on that. Aside from that, not much more is really on the horizon. I would like to go back to making videos. I want to continue my game adaptation reviews. I actually do have a lot of fun doing that. The problem is I don't really like doing it solo. It's a lot more fun having the two-person dynamic with that. Like, I used to have my friend Reggie, and before that, the problem is I can't find, someone on the same level or has the same amount of time of dedication to do this with me. The problem is that now, maybe a little thing called COVID is keeping me from having a co-host with me on the show. So, so solo is the way to go, sadly. I have been promising to do a Mega Man cartoon episode for over a year now. I think I might as well get down to it.
You might want to get that one done, yeah.
Yeah, it took me only 4 years to get my my Lost Gems episode of Wizards and Warriors done, so maybe I can get this one done sooner. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for the first episode of GVN Live for 2021. We are going to try and stay consistent. No promises, but we are going to try. Barring any health concerns, of course, that may arise. That did happen a few times last year. So, with that, on behalf of Mark, Jan, and Spencer, I want to say thank you, everybody, and have yourself a wonderful night. Deuces.
Bye-bye.